Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 15 of Avengers Assemble called Planet Doom. And overall, I thought this was actually a pretty good episode. It just sort of suffers from trying to cram just a little too much into 22 minutes. I kind of had the feeling that if they'd kind of expanded this out and made it a two-parter, it would have been a much stronger story. Because they really do have to rush through things. But anyway, this was quite a cool story. I really like alternate reality stories and things like that. So it's always kind of fun to see what writers do there. And we see this reality's version of the various Avengers characters. And if you're a fan of the comics, there's quite a lot you can pick out. For example, like Doom. Now, this might just be me, but the way Doom dressed, kind of with incorporating elements of Iron Man into his design, reminded me of a story that I'm not very familiar with, but that I have read a bit about in the comics, where there was an alternate reality version of Tony Stark that basically went crazy, decided to take over the world, became a very Doctor Doom-esque bad guy who called himself Iron Maniac. So it was Iron Man with shades of Doctor Doom, and here we see Doctor Doom with shades of Iron Man. Now, obviously, this reality's version of Spider-Man is drawn from the appearance of the character from the alternate reality series, Spider-Man Noir, which was retelling kind of a story of like what if Spider-Man had existed in the 1930s and was basically a socialist fighting on behalf of labor unions. Well, yeah. Yeah, seriously, that happened. I believe that version of Spider-Man also appeared in the Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions video game that came out a few years ago, but I have never played that, so beyond that, I can't really say much about it. Now, Sam being referred to as Snap Wilson, I think that comes from the Ultimate Marvel comics, as does Hawkeye's look. He's very reminiscent of the Ultimate Universe's version of Hawkeye here. And I definitely did get a kick out of the fact that they called themselves the Defenders. Defenders are another superhero team in the Marvel Universe who are sort of kind of the superhero leftovers. They've got a very interesting and very mixed history. There are some people out there who are extremely passionate about them, though. And it's interesting that the Hulk actually has spent more time serving as a member of the Defenders than he ever did serving as an Avenger. Now, seeing the heroes who apparently in this reality had gone over to Doom's side, well, there was really nothing terribly different about Banner and Stark. They were basically just themselves. Black Widow, however, or Black Bride, is done in such a way that she resembles a longtime Iron Man villainess, Madame Mask. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch. There's just something about the design of Madame Mask that I've always been oddly fond of. So there's that. I was actually slightly disappointed, though, that in the end it turned out that Banner and Stark and Natasha were all actually working with the Defenders the whole time. When Hawkeye mentioned, like, oh, we've got a source on the inside, it's like, okay, either it's going to end up being one of these guys, or if it was really the show was being really clever, it was Doom feeding them information all along to lure them into a trap to finish them off once and for all. But this, with 22 minutes, you have to be very concise, very cut and dry most of the time. So that was a little disappointing. I usually enjoy stories where alternate reality stories where you see, villainous versions of heroes and heroic versions of villains. It's just kind of for me it's usually very fun. Although I have to say in recent years I've really gotten sick of evil Superman stories. That has really been way too overdone recently. Take note, DC, huh? Oh, another thing, I almost forgot. One of my actually all-time favorite Marvel characters has a little cameo in this episode, and it's that the executioner who's about to kill Thor is revealed to be, well, Natasha refers to him as Castle, and we see him wearing a black shirt with a skull on it, and obviously that is a reference to the one and only Punisher. I love the Punisher. I actually have a Punisher hoodie in my closet right at this very moment. And as much as I love the Punisher, he's a character that you really have to water him down if you want him to appear on a kid show. They had to do that when he appeared on the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. And here it's just a brief little cameo, just a shout out to all the Punisher fans out there, which I certainly do appreciate. Anyway, one thing I did notice is that during the story they mentioned when they've finally figured out, like, okay, we know how to stop Doctor Doom from altering reality and set the world right. They say that Doom does all this, activates his time machine at precisely midnight Manhattan time. And yet, when Thor goes back to actually stop him, it's quite clearly day. And, Thor, you really better hope that Doctor Doom doesn't bother to check the security cameras at the Latvian embassy after that accident, because you're just kind of hanging around in the hall there. On the other hand, it is certainly nice to see Thor using his brain to solve a problem. So clearly, hanging around Tony has at least rubbed off on him a little bit. Well, just a bit. And overall, yeah, this was just kind of a fun episode. Like I said, I think if they'd stretched it out a little more, they could have really amped up the drama. The 90s X-Men cartoon, for example, did stuff like this wonderfully. It's one of the really strong points of the series. That's why it stayed with so many fans like myself so many years after we saw it. But, it's a different day and age, and this is the Disney Channel, not Fox. So they're doing their own thing. But in any case, this is a very well done episode. It certainly is a fun episode, and I had a lot of fun watching it. So I can't really complain that much. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you this time around. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Till next time, take care and have a good one.